From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. The campaigning is all but over. The candidates have had their say. Tomorrow the voters get a chance to speak. At this late date, there are polls everywhere. The latest ABC News Washington Post poll, which was completed last night, shows Mr. Mondale getting a bit closer to the president. Mr. Reagan is leading by 14 points with 6% undecided. Our last survey had the two candidates 18 points apart. Today, Mr. Reagan and Mr. Mondale were both making one last push. We have reports from both campaigns. With the president, here's Sam Donaldson.
Ronald Reagan began his last campaign day on the steps of the state capitol at Sacramento, where it all began for him as a freshman governor in 1967. He recalled something Tip O'Neill told him when he first came to Washington as president.
He rather condescendingly said to me, "You're in the big leagues now." And do you know something? I kind of thought here in California we were in the big leagues.
The California crowd appreciated the thought, but today there was little fire. The president delivered his standard lines, such as how the American people won't have to take Walter Mondale's new taxes.
Get his tax increases.
And a small group of Mondale supporters politely chanted back. But so pervasive is the sense of impending victory that it all had the feel of going through the motions. Mr. Reagan, however, remained true to form.
Gonna win?
You know, Helen, I'm never going to say any answer.
Even up to the last minute?
Not up to the last, especially not up to the
The
last.
president's friend, Frank Sinatra, who was along today, was not so cautious. Do you think you'll carry all 50 states?
By all means.
In fact, as the president traveled down the California coast, his aides revealed their expectations. 45 states certain, 4 more highly probable, the last one, Minnesota, very possible. 49 or 50, with 59% of the popular vote. And the president, though not predicting, kept on delivering his standard taunt to Walter Mondale.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Some campaigns end on a note of excited expectations, others on a note of deep despair. But this one ends almost on a matter-of-fact tone of business as usual. The Reagan ship of state, barely scratched by the exertions of Walter Mondale, sails on serenely toward its expected landslide. The president toward the opportunities and the perils of 4 more years. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, Woodland Hills, California.
This is Britt Hume. Walter Mondale today did about the only thing he could. He kept running against the clock, against the odds, and against the seemingly unshakable popularity of the incumbent. Before an estimated 12,000 cheering partisans in Los Angeles, he put the case against Mr. Reagan in the strongest terms, but in words that made clear he knows a Reagan sweep is possible.
Tomorrow, someone will make history. Either we will make history or they will make history. Do you really want them to tell women and minorities that the march toward justice is over? Do you want to give them a mandate to impose taxes and raise taxes on working men and women of this country? Do you really want to give them a mandate to send American combat troops to Central America?
Mondale put special emphasis today on his running mate and the president's.
It's a choice between someone who's growing every day in this campaign and someone who's shrunk every day in this campaign.
He read a letter, he said, was from an impoverished child asking his help in finding a home for her family. It seemed to sum up what Mondale believes about government, politics, and this election.
Don't we need a president who can hear the cry of that child?
We want this! We want this!
At the end, he stood with hands high in the victory sign, knowing better than anyone that the election may be out of reach, but knowing that his spirited finish has no doubt helped other Democrats, and perhaps, just perhaps, denied Ronald Reagan the broad mandate he has so boldly sought. Britt Hume, ABC News, with the Mondale campaign in Los Angeles.
Well, Geraldine Ferraro and George Bush spent time in other parts of the country today, stumping for those last-minute votes, making that final appeal. Ms. Ferraro was in the Northeast. Mr. Bush was in Texas. Lynn Scher is with the Ferraro campaign.
On the last day of her first national campaign, the sun will come out. Why shouldn't it, John? Geraldine Ferraro was in high spirits, but there were signs it is over. Tributes sounding more like the end of an adventure than the beginning of a new career.
I'm here to say to Jerry Ferraro, thank you for a job well done. We're proud of you.
When hecklers interrupted her speech for the 4th time, she reacted with the ease of 109 days of experience.
I'm listening to the debate back there. It's not bad. It's Stop the Covert War in Nicaragua, and it's, what was the other piece? The arms race. You're right. You can keep that up. You're doing better than I am.
At the airport, her staff, many met for the first time on this campaign, and most seemed eager to return to their jobs in the real world, posed for a final snapshot. Aboard her charter, which has helped her stump 12 states in 8 days, flags and crepe paper lent an end-of-the-trail party mood. At a rally in Pittsburgh, Ferraro repeated her theme that her candidacy had ended men's dominance in national politics.
And if you don't understand, Mr. Reagan, then move aside, because we're not turning back.
Ferraro's continued enthusiasm reflects her belief that whatever happens tomorrow, she has still won something. She insists her candidacy has made it easier for all women, but it is also true that right now, she is the best-known potential female presidential candidate in the country. Lynn Scher, ABC News, with the Ferraro campaign in Pittsburgh.
This is Carol Simpson. Vice President George Bush did his last-minute campaigning in his adopted home state of Texas.
I've just got to believe that tomorrow at the polls, the people of Texas are going to shout loud and clear for all American to hear, 4 more years, 4 more.
In fact, so certain is Bush of a Reagan victory tomorrow that his final hours of the campaign were spent stumping for others, for Republican congressional candidates like Dick Armey in Denton.
We need Dick Armey into Congress. Send him there.
To also make absolutely certain that Texas and its all-important 29 electoral votes are in the Reagan column, Bush did some last-minute courting of the Hispanic vote.
The great expression, and you know it here well, and we know it in our family, of Hispanic hospitality, mi casa es su casa. My house is your house. But Walter Mondale puts it differently. He says, su dinero es mi dinero. And you know what that means. And we don't want that anymore.
No one had to tell this audience Bush was saying Mondale thinks their money is his money.
By tonight, when George Bush arrives home in Houston, he will have traveled 37,000 miles to 97 cities in 32 states. Despite his trials along the campaign trail, he believes a Reagan victory tomorrow will have made it all worthwhile. Carol Simpson, ABC News, with the Bush campaign in Denton, Texas.
Later in this broadcast, President Reagan's coattails. How long are they? The Nicaraguan elections. How much of a victory for the Sandinistas? And John McEnroe versus tennis officials in Stockholm.
This is World News Tonight, brought to you by America's Bankers.
Nowadays, it seems everybody's comparing himself to a banker. Savings and loan folks say they can give you financial counsel like bankers.
And we're just like a bank.
Stockbrokers say they can manage your transactions like bankers.
And we're just like a bank.
When others go so far to say they're like a banker, isn't it nice to know that the one helping you really is a banker? The only place you'll find a banker is the bank.
A message from America's full-service banks.
To help American business remember better what American business has to remember, help is on the way. Introducing Elephant Premium Floppy Disks for Business. They're designed to protect your data when other disks won't. Elephant Premium Floppy Disks, because Elephant never forgets.
Still on politics, there is a lot at stake tomorrow besides the presidential race. Republicans currently have control of the Senate, but it would take quite a change for Republicans to win control in the House of Representatives. Going into this election, Republicans are becoming more optimistic. The Democrats a little more worried because of the president's coattails. In other words, if the president does well, will other Republicans also benefit? Here's ABC's Charles Gibson.
It is critical to Republican congressional candidates, like Larry DeNardis, that Ronald Reagan have coattails. A brief moment with the president becomes a front-page picture in the local paper. Then the front-page picture goes in the candidates' last-minute TV ads.
I need your help. Put the Republican team back together. We're the best team for you and for America.
DeNardis was the congressman here, elected in 1980, defeated in 1982, one of 26 seats the Republicans lost 2 years ago. To be a force in the House again, Republicans tomorrow have to win back those 26 seats. To do that, they have to win districts like this one.
This is probably one of the clearest bellwether seats in the nation.
But the man who took the seat away from DeNardis, Bruce Morrison, is no pushover. Despite the fact the polls show Ronald Reagan leading in Connecticut's 3rd District by about 20 points, Democrat Morrison leads in the same polls in the congressional race.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Morrison. Need your help next week? Thank you. I'm going to vote for you. Thank you. I'm not going to vote for Mondale, but I'm going to vote for you. Well,
to win, that's just what Morrison, indeed all Democrats running for the House, have to count on. Getting Reagan voters to switch parties in the congressional races.
A quarter of the people who are voting for Ronald Reagan in this district are saying they're going to vote for me.
That is simply an unrealistic estimate on his part.
But that is the central question. Are Reagan's coattails there or aren't they? Larry DeNardis counts on them.
It takes two to tango in Washington. It takes a president and a Congress moving together.
While Bruce Morrison worries about them.
But Larry DeNardis can't beat me. If I'm beaten, it's because Ronald Reagan is running so far ahead of Walter Mondale.
In this race, and in so many House races, the decisive factor may well be the Reagan issue. Charles Gibson, ABC News, New Haven, Connecticut.
We go overseas now. Beirut newspapers today report a new threat from Islamic Jihad against Americans. The group, if it is that, reportedly threatened to kill President Reagan if he is reelected and to continue its attacks against American interests in the Middle East. ABC's national security correspondent John McWethy says that U.S. officials are taking the threats very seriously.
U.S. embassies in 3 Middle Eastern countries are virtually empty tonight because of terrorist threats of violence. The American ambassador's residence in Beirut, Lebanon, which has served as the embassy since terrorists bombed the main complex in September, has had little more than security people in it for the last 2 weeks. The ambassador and most of his staff are out of the country. Now it has been learned that 2 other facilities are regarded as high risk, the embassy in Kuwait and the embassy in Jordan. Both have had most high and mid-level staff members ordered out of the region as well, at least until after tomorrow's election. After that, State Department sources say there will be a reassessment of the terrorist threat. News that 3 U.S. embassies in the Middle East have had most staff members evacuated comes in the wake of still more terrorist threats over the weekend. The so-called Islamic Holy War warned that it would hit American facilities in the region shortly and vowed that President Reagan would not finish a second term. In Washington, where the threats are being taken very seriously, security measures on Capitol Hill took on a new look, with heavy trucks, including a garbage truck, blocking entrances to the Capitol in off hours. Officials say the security experiment will continue for at least a month. John McWethy, ABC News, Washington.
Well, on the eve of this presidential election, the Soviet leader Konstantin Chernenko went on Soviet television tonight to once again blame America and its allies for world tension. Mr. Chernenko said the U.S. had set itself what he called the insane goal of achieving military superiority. He said the Soviet Union would never permit that to happen. When we return, living with terror in India.
This is a Mustang LX that comes with reclining bucket seats. That comes with AM/FM stereo with premium sound. Comes with power steering, power brakes, power door locks. Comes with interval wipers, speed control, and styled road wheels. And it goes for less than $6,900. Mustang LX. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
They want fearless leadership, clear communication, and the truth. They want the truth. You give it to them, and you still have to earn their respect. But if you do, you may be one of the only people in the world they do respect. Can you imagine how good that makes you feel?
Good morning, class.
John Engel.
Motivated today?
Isn't he the kind of teacher you want teaching your kids? So does the NEA.
Is there a coffee made with those incredible tasting beans you find in gourmet coffee stores?
Oh, yes. The costliest, most flavorful coffee beans found in gourmet coffee stores, Arabica beans, are the very same beans used to make Taster's Choice a superior coffee. Only Taster's Choice uses this gourmet blend, Arabica Supreme.
Ah.
The more you know about coffee,
the more you'll know why the choice for taste is Taster's Choice.
The final results from yesterday's election in Nicaragua won't be in until later in the week, but it is already clear the Sandinistas have won by a sizable majority. Not surprising, perhaps, since there was only token opposition on the ballot. The State Department has called the procedure a farce, saying it was not an election but theater. Hundreds of foreign observers, including a delegation from the United States, however, issued a statement saying the election was fair. Our Latin American Bureau Chief, Ann Garrels, is in Managua.
The polls had barely closed when the party began. The Sandinistas declared the elections a victory for the revolution, a defeat for President Reagan. Although the major opposition party called for a boycott, 80% of those eligible voted, and preliminary results show the Sandinistas winning about 70% of the vote. Nevertheless, the U.S.-backed opposition, which didn't run, continues to call these elections illegitimate.
They are not really elections, but just a referendum with a landslide for the FSLN because it doesn't have any competition whatsoever.
Sandinista leader Daniel Ortega will be Nicaragua's president for the next 6 years. He calls these elections a triumph for democracy, though he admits peace is not a likely outcome of the vote. Nicaraguan troops are on constant alert. The Sandinistas have an almost paranoid obsession with a U.S. invasion from the north. And according to Ortega, a U.S. invasion is even more likely if President Reagan is re-elected. If, as Ortega claims, President Reagan continues to derail the regional peace talks. The Sandinistas say these elections show they have the overwhelming support of the Nicaraguan people. But as long as the Sandinistas and Ronald Reagan completely disagree on the value of these elections, Ortega says tensions can only get worse. Ann Garrels, ABC News, Managua, Nicaragua.
In southern Africa, yet another outbreak of violent protest in the black townships around Johannesburg has left 8 more South African blacks dead. Police used rubber bullets, birdshot, and tear gas to break up the new protests, which included a general strike by black workers. The remains of India's Prime Minister Indira Gandhi were placed in 40 brass urns today. Her son, Rajiv, placed one urn on the grounds of Mrs. Gandhi's childhood home. The others are to be taken to all of India's 22 states for people to say a final farewell before her ashes are scattered over the Himalayas. The communal violence, which has bruised India so badly since the assassination last week, is dying down. As ABC's Mark Litke reports, however, the scars will take a long time to heal.
The people of Janakpuri have lived and worked together in peace since the birth of this country, both Sikhs and Hindus. But that all ended within hours after the murder of Indira Gandhi.
Half of our property we have lost it. Everything has been burned. They give it bricks, they give it stones, they give it iron rods, iron sheets. What can we do?
Our shop is burnt, our house is burnt. Only we have saved ourselves. Nothing is there.
It seems as if every Sikh here now has a tale of senseless violence. Their community is horribly scarred. 3 generations of the Saransit Singh family are now homeless. Frightened people are still huddling for safety at a local temple, where others are being treated for their wounds. This old man was beaten and burned. Another had one ear sliced off. Johan Singh was defiled in the worst possible way for a Sikh, as his sacred beard and hair were shorn off. His wife showed us a picture of how he used to look. They don't blame their neighbors. They say it was Hindus from outside who attacked their town, but they are now forced to live with a fear and suspicion they've never known, in a country they've always been proud of.
This is our India. We are staying in our own country. We don't want to leave our country.
The question haunting this town now is whether the next generation will feel the same way. Mark Litke, ABC News, Janakpuri, India.
When we come back, a report on John McEnroe. He is still the bad boy of tennis.
Gifts of gold or silver coins have almost always increased in value. Some of the silver dollars Grandma handed out are worth hundreds today. And a $10 gold piece given back in '32 could be worth thousands now. For the first time, you can give Olympic gold and silver U.S. coins. And although no one knows what Olympic coins will be worth tomorrow, they make a gift that will be cherished this holiday and for generations to come. Available at many locations, or call this number toll-free for information.
Aspirin was introduced in 1899. Tylenol in 1955. Today, there's Advil, a major development in non-prescription pain relief. Advil contains a non-prescription strength of ibuprofen, the medicine found in the prescription brand Motrin. Doctors have written over 130 million prescriptions for ibuprofen. Now it's in Advil, in non-prescription strength. If you're aspirin allergic, before taking Advil, ask your doctor. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Smile! Is that the new Nikon? Yes. Get in there and I'll get your picture. Just push the button.
Announcing the Nikon One Touch.
Oh, is that the Nikon? Let me.
A lightweight 35mm camera that anyone can use.
Just push. Is that the new Nikon?
Just push.
Even if they've never picked one up before.
Just push.
The autofocus, auto flash, auto everything Nikon One Touch. Now everyone can take great pictures.
Say cheese!
If you see one mouse, you've probably got a lot more. Mice always live in groups, and they breed like crazy. But you can get rid of your mice problem with Decon Mouseproof. Mouseproof is better than traps. A trap kills only one mouse at a time, but Decon Mouseproof can kill mice by the dozen. Mouseproof bait is clean and easy to use, yet so effective it's America's #1 mouse killer. Decon Mouseproof, the way to get rid of your mice problem.
Well, her name is now very familiar, and baby Faye continues to improve. Her doctor said today that baby Faye is right on target, crying lustily, and seems to have come through a critical period without any signs of rejecting the baboon heart, which is keeping her alive. The former Oakland Raiders will remain the Los Angeles Raiders. The Supreme Court today refused to get involved with the National Football League's efforts to force the Raiders to move back to Oakland. That also means Baltimore probably will not get the Colts back from Indianapolis. Yes, the bad boy of tennis put on another of his classic shows yesterday. It was at the Scandinavian Tennis Championships in Stockholm that John McEnroe proved again he is hard to equal when it comes to both tennis and temper. Here's Al Dale.
It was vintage McEnroe. One of his serves in the second set against Sweden's Anders Järryd was called out, and McEnroe disagreed.
No mistakes whatsoever.
Second serve, please.
Answer my question! The question, jerk!
It wasn't at all clear what the question was, but the crowd gave McEnroe its answer. Play resumed, and McEnroe missed another point. This time, he took out his frustrations on the crowd. The ball didn't hit anyone, but McEnroe's next targets weren't so lucky. His athletic bag took a swift backhand, and a row of hapless soft drinks never knew what hit them. Twice. Later at a news conference, he gave his reasons for the outburst.
I'm tired after years and years on the circuit of having some guy that does not know what he's doing telling me to play when I'm answering him a completely different question. I mean, it's just aggravating. It's like sitting here and answering stupid questions all the time. You know, after 7 years, you get tired of it.
McEnroe went on to win the match and advanced to the finals today against Mats Wilander. The player, sometimes known as Super Brat, was fined $2,000 and faces suspension, thus jeopardizing his playing for the U.S. in the Davis Cup next month. Al Dale, ABC News.
Something of a footnote, McEnroe may have a bad temper, but he proved again today he's a great player. He did win the tournament. The next space shuttle flight using Discovery is set for Wednesday, but there will be a delay before the next flight after that. NASA announced today that the shuttle Challenger suffered damage to its heat tiles on the last mission, and its next flight, set for December the 8th, will be delayed until repairs are made. A strike by 6,000 workers at the General Dynamic Corporation in a suburb of Fort Worth, Texas, turned ugly today. Police used fire hoses trying to control a crowd of several hundred workers trying to block traffic into the plant. One man had his bicycle pushed into an oncoming car. Several people were arrested. The strike began today after workers voted down a proposed new 3-year contract. In tonight's Money Matters on Wall Street, stocks closed higher. The Dow Jones Industrials gained more than 12.5 points in moderate trading. In a moment, a hunger strike ends, and some of the homeless will find shelter.
It started in 1933 with our first electric. Then came typing that looked like printing. The revolutionary Selectric. And Selectrics that correct mistakes. 1984, IBM introduces the Selectric System 2000, the Wheelwriter typewriters and the QuietWriter typewriter. A new generation of typewriters from the company that makes the typewriters secretaries prefer most.
You never know when the weather's going to turn on you, do you? That's why Michelin developed the XA4 all-season tire. The XA4 is as good in the snow as a snow tire, as good out of the snow as a great handling highway tire. And with proper care, its unique all-weather tread lasts up to 60,000 miles. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Why do you think more people don't vote?
A lot of people, unfortunately, always say, well, it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
That's too bad. Participation is vital if you're to preserve freedom. If you want democracy to work, you have to vote. It's just that simple.
This message has been brought to you by Beneficial Corporation, an American leader in consumer financial services.
Finally tonight we have a report about a political activist from Washington, D.C. who has been fasting to draw attention to the plight of the homeless in America's cities. He has ended his fast and he is claiming victory over the government bureaucracy. Mitch Snyder is suffering from prolonged starvation and dehydration, but he's expected to recover. Here's ABC's Jean Meserve.
In 51 days of fasting, he had lost 62 pounds, more than a third of his body weight.
I'm very hungry, obviously. Psychologically, I'm starving. I mean, all of you almost look like hamburgers to me.
Mitch Snyder is shepherd to the estimated 5,000 homeless people who roam the streets of the nation's capital. In April, he won the right to use an abandoned and run-down federal building as a shelter. He fasted to pressure the administration into renovating that facility. Yesterday, he got what he wanted.
The fact that Mitch was on the fast certainly brought the visibility up. But the fact that the president was interested and concern about the homeless has been going on for over a year.
The president's intervention comes only days before the election, but Snyder, having won the battle, isn't questioning the motivation.
I'm not sure how we would make the world a better place to live if we assume that when people do the right thing, they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
The shelter will house only 800 of the estimated millions of homeless people in the nation, but Snyder hopes it will serve as a model and that his fast will revive interest in the issue of homelessness. Drifting in and out of consciousness during the last days of his fast, Snyder says he truly expected to die and was ready to.
We feel good about the fact that the shelter is going to be fixed up. Obviously, that was important enough for us to make it a question of life and death, because we just couldn't see our friends living under conditions that are not human anymore.
Jean Meserve, ABC News, Washington.
We have a reminder, tomorrow night at this time we'll be reporting from our election headquarters. We will have the first results from several states where the polls have closed on World News Tonight. And then at 7 o'clock Eastern Time our continuous election coverage begins. We hope you will join us after you vote. One more reminder, there should be a very interesting pre-election political discussion later this evening on Nightline. That is our report for now. I'm Peter Jennings. For everyone at ABC News, good night.
They agree. It's up to you to vote. Then watch your vote count with Peter Jennings, David Brinkley, and the people of ABC News. Proven first, fast, and accurate with election results. Tuesday.
Thick, meaty spaghetti sauce like this starts with Winn-Dixie's Best. WD brand pure ground beef is just 99 cents a pound at your neighborhood Winn-Dixie.
It's your Circle Buick dealer's drive to save lives. Buy an 85 Buick and get a no-charge $10,000 life insurance policy just for buckling up. And your choice of a free child safety seat or a free auto safety kit. See Richard Smith in Murfreesboro, Kane in Franklin, Parks in Columbia, Faulkner in Dixon, Wyatt Johnson, Clarksville, Barber in Springfield, Baker in Gallatin, and Wilson County in Lebanon.
We're your Circle Buick dealers. We've got Nashville surrounded.
That was a great game. Hey, what do you say we grab?
Dad, we ain't that loud, we.